Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So it has been quite a year. Wow, 2022 almost wrapped up. Certainly a year for the history books for crypto. Crazy stories coming out, narratives that are almost unbelievable, like the Terra Luna collapse, and then the cascading events that occurred after that, the quantity of bankruptcies. And then we had the FTX collapse only a few months later. The second largest cryptocurrency exchange coming down to its knees. And so, guys, what are we to expect in 2023? Are we going to see more of the same, or are we going to start to see some life in the crypto market? Even if 2023 was essentially chopping sideways, it would give us a lot of opportunity to save up more money to be able to invest in more cryptocurrencies. Although I know all of us just want to see the market recover. And, even if we start to see, a 20, 30, 40% uptick, I think that would be better than nothing. Peter Schiff, though, here, he's coming out. He's saying if crypto investors think 2022 was a bad year, wait until they get a load of 2023. So, for those of you guys who do not know, Peter Schiff, he's a gold bug, very pessimistic on Bitcoin. He says, despite this year's 65% collapse, the faithful remain optimistic that Bitcoin will soon moon to new highs. I wonder if a 2023 Bitcoin plunge below $5,000 will be enough to shake hodler confidence. Now, as you guys can see here, he's very pessimistic on Bitcoin. But the thing with Peter Schiff is that he actually doesn't know too much about other cryptocurrencies. He's assuming that the rest of the crypto market is essentially like Bitcoin. And very specifically, he doesn't know a lot about XRP, and I'm going to tell you why later on. However, when XRP was in fact explained to him, you could see the wheels turning in his head. So this was his outlook. We've got XRP here on the charts, 34 cents, really not too much movement with regards to XRP. We've got Bitcoin up here as well, trading at about $16,500. So just, maintaining support. Let's bring up the total market cap here real quickly. We can see the total market cap here also maintaining that support, feeling very comfortable finding that support on top of old resistance, that old resistance that we saw back in January of 2018, before the market did see another bear year. So, the market fairly quiet as of late. Over the holidays, we generally don't see too many traders trading. So this is, par for the course. Dylan Paolone here brought up something interesting. I've never seen this on Binance US with XRP being delisted. Do they know something we don't? Or have I just missed these little details the whole time? So XRP to USD, I don't know. I don't personally use Binance US, so I don't know if this has changed, if they have just recently listed the XRP to USD pair, but then, marked it as not yet listed, maybe in hopes that they are going to list it soon. They do have the XRP to USD pair chart here. So, if one of you guys does use Binance.us and has some more insight on this, please do put it down in the comment section, or you can contact me on Twitter. It is telling because, if they just relisted this recently, then that means there could be inclinations that, we are going to get clarity very, very soon in the court case, and that Binance.us is just getting ready for that. Just rumors as of now. Wanted to thank Dylan for posting that, though. Matthew LANY here posting this. Okay, this has to do with UnionPay International's continuous expansion of its use of global networks. So this is going to see over 200 million cards issued outside the Chinese mainland. Now, the important thing about this, UnionPay's API, that connects to FIS, Novati, and Wiz, and guys, these are all Ripple partners. So definitely an important connection there with the issuance of UnionPay card exceeding 200 million outside the Chinese mainland. UnionPay, or UPI, is stepping into a new decade of providing high-quality, cost-effective, and secure cross-border payment services to the world's largest cardholder base. UPI's partners have expanded from 60 initial members since establishing in 2012 to 2,500 institutions internationally, with an acceptance network that currently spans 181 countries and regions, 78 of which now issue UnionPay cards, ensuring convenient local services to an ever-growing number of global UnionPay card holders and merchants. And look here, guys, they are specifically looking to target the cross-border payment experiences for their local cardholders. So down here, just give some more statistics. During the 10 years, the digital transformation of the global payments industry has been developing rapidly, and UPI has accelerated product iterations and service upgrades to meet the ever-changing payment habits of international customers. Collaborating closely with central banks, national switch networks, and payment alliances, UPI has shared its innovative financial infrastructure and technical standards in countries such as Thailand, Philippines, Philippines and has become the unified cross-border chip card standard of Asian payment networks. So now we have UnionPay wanting to attract more customers, and considering their API does connect with FIS, Novati, and Wiz, all Ripple partnerships, this will likely become an easier feat had they not been partnered through the secondary partnerships with Ripple partners. So interesting news there. Wanted to thank Matt for posting that. I also saw this, guys, from the Wrath of Kahneman. This has to do with Faisal Bank, a Ripple user. They've just recently received an Islamic banking license from the State Bank of Pakistan, surrendering their conventional license. Now, he also does mention that not XRP. So XRP is not related to this story because he says crypto is in fact banned there. Nevertheless, we are seeing this bank being granted a banking license. In a communication shared with the Pakistan Stock Exchange, Faisal Bank said that the SBP has granted the Islamic bank license to Faisal Bank Limited after the bank completed its conversion from a conventional bank to a fully fledged Islamic bank. Now, the interesting thing about this, crypto being banned, do they mean crypto in terms of crypto trading and, the traditional way that people want to interact with cryptocurrencies? I mean, you got the retail trader. They want to buy low, sell high, make a profit, and, be rich. So is it the crypto trading, or is it cryptocurrencies altogether? Meaning we won't be able to use them in an ecosystem, even if they solve problems, even if they do provide value to the network. So that part isn't clear. It's interesting, though, down here, BitWilly does say, explain this to me like I'm 5. Wrath of Kahneman does explain it. Islamic banking adheres to Sharia rules, and we knew this already. XRP is already compliant there. He goes on to say, and it is a big part of the banking system in the MENA region. XRP has been declared compliant with this system, and this is an example of a Ripple using bank that is also compliant. So again, Ripple, Sharia law, the XRP cryptocurrency, all compliant in terms of the religious requirements for this particular Islamic bank. And although cryptocurrency is banned, I don't know if they've necessarily banned XRP for use for these banks being able to use a particular cryptocurrency to facilitate these transactions. So that part's not clear, but we do have Ripple user Faisal Bank now receiving that Islamic banking license. And, since we know XRP and Ripple are Sharia compliant, that to me just spells positivity for the banking sector in Pakistan. So wanted to thank the Wrath of Kahneman for posting that. Just an update, guys, on SBF. Apparently he did just cash out $684,000. This coming from Michael Branch here on Twitter. So Sam Bankman-Fried, the disgraced founder and former CEO of bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange FTX, has reportedly cashed out $684,000 worth of crypto assets, despite the court restrictions on spending above $1,000. So, more questionable activity here, and especially if, these news outlets are reporting on this. If he's going against his court order, why are they letting him do this? After Bankman-Fried's $250 million bail last week, the FTX boss sent all the Ether in his public wallet to a new address. Some hours later, $367,000 worth of cryptocurrencies were transferred from 32 addresses owned by Sam Bankman-Fried's trading firm Alameda Research to the same wallet. The address received another $322,000 from other wallets, bringing the total to roughly $689,000. And I believe Sam Bankman-Fried did tweet this the other day. He did post a tweet saying, I don't actually have access to these accounts anymore. So if these tokens were transferred to these wallets, it wasn't me. It must have been someone else. Okay, I guess, maybe, technically. However, does that really mean that he does not have access to this money? Yeah, interesting question there. Anyway, just a little update there on the Sam Bankman-Fried case. Obviously keeping an eye on this, not spending too much time on it though, because we've got bigger fish to fry, guys. I saw this from Cryptotainment here on Twitter. Credit to him. Now, I recently did a video talking about Kristalina Georgieva's comment, her end of the year comment from the IMF. And if you guys didn't catch the video I did on that, I will link it up here in the top right-hand corner. Here's another snippet, another clip from that same presentation, from that same speech. Again, in the context of a global financial system and a liquidity crisis, I think, to be more specific. Here's what she said in this 22-second clip, guys. Listen to this.
And that is what we actually did. It's a very simple thing, saying in a world where needs are so gigantic and resources are constrained, we should not allow a dormant asset if we can make something out of it.
In a world where needs are so gigantic and resources are so constrained, okay? So basically, you're saying in a world that you have essentially created because of all the missteps, and not just you, Kristalina Georgieva, with the IMF. I mean, this has been a concerted effort, a controlled effort by governments around the world, central banks around the world, lockdowns around the world, ruining the economy, systematically dismantling it piece by piece. And because of that, resources are constrained. She goes on to say we should not allow a dormant asset if we can make something out of it. So nothing should be left untouched. If we can, utilize it, we should be resourceful. And so, to me, when I listen to this, and so, this is the reason why I wanted to show you guys this clip, is because to me, what this sounds like is we can't leave assets dormant. If there is a mechanism to transfer these assets, we should be doing that to unlock that value. So again, maybe a little bit of telegraphing as to where the financial system is going to go in the future, right? Easing people in to the Great Reset slowly, a little bit at a time so that it is not a huge shock to the system. Anyway, wanted to thank Cryptotainment for pointing that out. Now we've got Tony Valentino, guys. He is back on the scene. In XRP we trust. The rails that provide the backbone and lifeblood of the new financial system are now in place. They have been activated. From darkness will come fire. From fire comes the phoenix. Within the next 7 days, we will see our future path. Now, I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping we see something in the next 7 days. I'm not holding my breath, though. 2023, though, is certainly going to be an interesting year. I also happen to see this clip originally posted here from BondCrypt XRP. This says it all. I happen to find the original clip here on YouTube. Now, this sounds like a paid presentation, okay? So it sounds a little mocked up. It sounds a little acted and a little stiff. But this is Nome Prince, all right? And so just to give you guys a little bit of context, Nome Prince is an American economist, author, journalist, and public speaker who writes about Wall Street and the U.S. economy. Before becoming a journalist and public speaker, Prince had a very successful career in finance, reaching the upper echelons of Wall Street. She worked as a managing director at Goldman Sachs, senior managing director at Bear Stearns in London, senior strategist at Lehman Brothers, and analyst at the Chase Manhattan Bank. Prince was also a distinguished senior fellow at the Demos think tank from 2002 to 2016. So those are her credentials. I wanted to play you guys a little clip here. Basically, she is warning us of a new financial system overhaul, a transformation that, the central banks and the powers that be are essentially implementing, but don't really want us to know about. Anyway, listen to this clip here, guys.
We're also about to see massive changes in the $23 trillion world of big finance. In the months ahead, central banks around the world are planning to go digital. Many of the legacy banks you've heard of, where you probably even keep your money, like Bank of America, Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, they're about to be reset, overhauled by a new type of technology called Fintech, which is short for financial technology.
Yeah, can I ask you, what exactly does that mean for the banks and all of us, you and me?
Essentially, it means the function of our banks is about to change. They probably won't raise public suspicion about it by changing the signs on your bank's branches, but according to my sources, the Federal Reserve will soon own all the banks, and your local branch, it's simply going to be like a licensee of the Fed. In other words, the banking infrastructure is being rebuilt from the ground up, and very few Americans are aware this is even happening. We are right on the verge of a once-in-a-generation opportunity to profit by investing in the companies that are building out the architecture for this massive shift. Put simply, financial technology is revolutionizing the $23 trillion old guard banking industry. You see, over the past 3 years, while the total value of U.S. bank stocks has slid by 30%, the total value of fintech stocks has increased by 272%. This chart shows the early stages of this huge distortion in action.
It's amazing. Why don't we hear about this shift in the news? This seems to me like it should be a front page story.
I totally agree. But I got to remember, the central banks and the folks on Wall Street, they want to keep this transformation under wraps for as long as they possibly can.
So they can get in front of it first.
Of course. And to avoid panic. This reset will be a huge shock when Americans catch on. That's why the average person won't hear a word about the story until it's obvious to just about everyone. And by then, it's going to be too late.
Yeah, the profits will be gone.
Right, the same way it works with any world-changing investment story.
All right, so I am going to stop it there. I will link this YouTube video in the description of the video if you guys are interested in watching the full thing. Essentially, warning us that the banks are changing over. They're switching over ownership, I guess. The Fed will own the banks in the United States, and your bank will be a licensee and not an independent entity anymore. It'll be a licensee of the Fed. And this transformation is basically going to change under our noses. They don't want us to know about this, but the more important and I think more interesting thing that Nome Prince says in here, that she discusses here, is the fact that Fintech is what's really going to transform the financial system. There's going to be a new financial structure. Fintech obviously going to take over. She doesn't mention cryptocurrency, but we know, of course, Ripple is a fintech company. We know the connections with Ripple and central banks around the world. So, I mean, it can only be assumed that the fintech or the fintech company Nome Prince is talking about will likely include Ripple. I mean, that will be just one of the many. Ripple, I believe, will be one of the larger ones. And so, when this financial system, when this financial turnover takes place, it's going to basically happen, boom, and then everybody is just going to wake up. So essentially, in the blink of an eye, we are going to see a transformation. And so, right, they're trying to hold us off. They're trying to, keep us at bay, keep us in the dark for as long as possible before this occurs, because people will not be happy, essentially. And I think there will be pushback. And, this is essentially what they're trying to avoid. When we have a calamity like a financial system collapsing, there is going to be panic. And, it's going to be difficult for governments to be able to reassure the public, I guess you could say, reassure the public that everything is going to be quote unquote okay. I mean, is it going to be okay? That's a whole separate story. It's a whole separate question. Are our finances going to be the same as they were before? Are we going to be richer? Are we going to be poorer? Are we going to have more opportunity to accumulate wealth or less? Those are all questions, obviously, for another video, possibly. But what Nome Prince is saying here, essentially, there is going to be a financial system that is going to be shaken up, and there is going to be fintech companies are going to, in fact, be those companies that definitely are going to change the face of finance.
World-changing investment story. That's why if you're going to invest, I'd recommend you do it right now, today. And I found a small company at the center of it all. They're building the bridge between the legacy banking world and a new financial system.
Now, what company is she talking about? She obviously doesn't give us the name of that company. This is where you have to pay the money in order to hear who she's talking about.
This firm recently bought the assets and the intellectual property to build what could become one of America's first government-accepted stablecoin networks, a project that they aim to launch before the end of 2022.
Nome, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying this small firm you're talking about intends to modernize the financial system with the support of the U.S. government?
That's exactly right, Chris. And that's why I expect that this company is going to become the leading firm powering the global payment system going forward.
So, I mean, a few things here. We know Ripple has the ability to provide the infrastructure through the XRPL, for example, to allow central bank digital currencies to run on that. They can do it privately, they can do it publicly. So these are things we already know. I mean, we don't know all the details. I don't think she's actually talking about Ripple here, but this kind of talk, it just is reminiscent of Fedwire to me, Valente Technologies, that running through Ripple. So, I mean, I guess you never know. The bigger point, the bigger takeaway, though, that I wanted to bring up was not necessarily what she's pitching here, is that the financial system is changing. Fintech is going to be at the forefront. And I think once the SEC lawsuit has been cleared, Ripple is definitely going to play a large part in this. Vandal33 here, got to give him credit, posted this great interview with Peter Schiff. So I mentioned Peter Schiff at the beginning of the video and how he's predicting that, 2023, doom and gloom for cryptocurrency. But I wanted to circle back to this because I thought this was very interesting. This video was just done yesterday, okay, by Vandal, Black Swan Capitalist here on Twitter. Had a great conversation with Peter Schiff. And we even briefly talked about XRP. Now, I brought up the Black Swan Capitalist video here, and I will link it in the description of the video. An interesting interview, I gotta say. I do suggest you guys watch the full thing, because Peter Schiff does touch on other topics as well. And apparently, he didn't actually know too much about XRP. So, as I was saying earlier, his negativity surrounding Bitcoin, we assume it extends to the rest of the crypto market, but when he actually realizes, I feel like you can almost see the light bulb go on in his head in this interview when he realizes the capacity, or rather the utility that XRP can provide. I think he changes his tune. Listen to this.
Digital currencies that are backed by gold circulating around, whether any of them would benefit from moving along the Ripple blockchain, or whether or not Ripple has something to offer that would speed up the processes or reduce the cost, to the extent that Ripple did have something to add that other blockchains didn't. Then there might be some demand for Ripple up to a point. I mean, I don't know, what that point is or what price to assign to Ripple. When I suppose if I have one type of token and you have another, and we're not in a similar ecosystem, and we're trying to use third parties or go through an exchange and trade, and maybe there'd be a use case. I don't know if that would be there, but ultimately, the token has to have value based on the asset that's backing it up, not just based on hope and prayer that you think it has value.
Utility as well, and use case.
Right. Well, the question is, though, right, if you just have a token that has utility, you have to measure that utility by the value that it's able to bring me. So if, for example, I can put my gold token on Ripple, and that increases the functionality of my token, it makes it easier for me to spend it or to earn it, because it lowers the transaction costs,
the time,
and it increases the speed, then yes, there's a value there. How much, it's hard to say, but yes, and you can measure.
That's what XRP is doing. It's acting as a neutral bridge currency to move value, kind of how we send pictures and emails through the internet, moving information.
Yeah, I know that.
Focused on moving value.
Where XRP stands now on, because isn't that one of the tokens that the SEC said was a security, and I know it's been wrapped up in litigation.
Okay, so I think it was at that point Peter Schiff's still trying to pull out excuses, but if you guys keep watching the clip here, you realize that he's realizing, oh wait, XRP is exactly what I just described, and so if it does provide that value in his example of moving a gold token, well, then it definitely would have a certain value. He couldn't pinpoint a price on it, but it certainly would have a definitive value based on its utility. You learn something every day, don't you, Peter? So I will link this clip, guys, in the description of the video. I do suggest, again, you watch this interview. Great interview by Black Swan Capitalist here. So kudos to him. Super huge thanks for this interview. This from Phil D on Twitter. This is true. Brad Garlinghouse never said otherwise. He always tells the story of the big chunk possible to take from a huge market. There will be other actors and techs. This is normal and called competition. Now, what he's referring to is this tweet from Saucy. XRPL was designed for cross-border payments. The problem is the XRPL cannot handle domestic payments, such as Visa, MasterCard, CBDCs, and cross-border payments all at the same time. We are talking multi-millions of transactions per second needed for the new financial system. So just to reiterate this point, guys, there will be competition. As Nome Prince talks about in this clip, there is a company that is associated with the government. We don't know if it is Ripple. I have a feeling it is not Ripple. However, we do know Fedwire, associated with the Federal Reserve, does leverage Valente Technologies, and they are in fact a Ripple partner. And Peter Schiff, I think, is probably coming to his senses, if he has learned anything from this interview, that the value of XRP will in fact be unlocked once we have clarity in the United States. So I'm hoping the outlook, guys, for 2023 is positive. We're not going to see an XRP at 34 cents forever. I hope you guys have a happy new year. Be safe tonight, however you're celebrating, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments, and I'll see you in 2023.